and welcome back to the Pregnancy and Postnatal Entrepreneurs Collective podcast. I'm Niamh Cassidy, and today I am joined by Louise O'Brien, who is head of Badass Coaching. So Louise is a nutritionist and women's wellness coach with over 17 years experience in coaching women. She started her career as a boxing athlete and now provides online coaching to a badass group of women, including me. So welcome, Louise. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, excited.
Good. So tell us, how did you get into coaching women in the way that you do it?
So it started off at a young age. So when I was between like 11 to 16, I was a boxing athlete, but I was the only female athlete in the club. So it kind of made things hard for me. So there was no changing room for me. There was no like weigh-ins for me. I had to wait till all the boys left the club so I could get down into my underwear and get my scale weight and all of that. And I know the men in the club were trying to protect me and let me kind of go in like on my own, but it was very isolating, very lonely, and a very kind of left to my own devices a lot as well. And as well, they were great coaches, but they didn't understand much about like time of the month, nutrition and other things. So what happened was they asked me to go and do my boxing coaching cert. So I ended up being one of the youngest female boxing coaches. And then I started training some of the other women that were coming into the club, and I was coaching them. But then they wanted more from me, and they were asking me more questions about nutrition, mindset, and a lot of the times, well, the nerves were getting to them before they were getting in the ring, before fights. So I just wanted to really focus on my education and make sure that I was able to give them a really good service. So I went down the sports psychology route, and then I did my nutrition cert, and then I just went into deep diving into like, I suppose, all aspects of health and fitness, so mind, body, everything. So that's how I kind of got into it. After that, then I decided to open up a female only gym because I just wanted to create a really safe environment for females to come in and train. Like I've been in gyms before growing up. I've been one of very few females in the gym. And then you have older men or guys in there and they're trying to give you advice and unsolicited advice, and you're just like, just leave me alone, I just want to do my own thing. Or they kind of look at you when you go into the men's weight room, because they always had like a little girls area in the gym where there's a couple of like dumbbells and a few machines, and that was where women were meant to train. And I just think that we deserve better and better quality, better service, and then a better environment to train in. So that's why I opened up my own gym. So I had that for 7 years, female only environment, female only coaches. It was really great, but then to my detriment, then it was burning me out. So I was in there from 5:30 in the morning, teaching so many classes a day, doing PT sessions, doing nutrition consultations till like 9 at night, and it was just too much for me. And I just began to resent the hours I was working, and obviously that's not what I want to do in life. I want to make sure I'm enjoying my job, my life. So I decided to close the gym a little under 2 years ago to be able to work with many more females online and all over the world. So I think having the gym base was great to start, but I wanted to kind of branch out and work with many more people.
It's amazing. Like, you were so young really getting into it. And then to make that kind of transition to, you know, to have come full circle, to have done all the study and to get into being really good at what you do. And I imagine it felt like when you opened that gym that you were going to be living your dream.
Yeah, and
but that's not
it didn't come true for a long time. Yeah, but I think as we grow, what we want from life changes too. So at that time, all I wanted was my own environment where I could do what I want to do and have my style of training, my style of coaching, have females around, empower them, get them really good results. And for a long period of time, that was like my dream come true. But then after a while, I realized I can't travel, I can't take time off. There's all like pros and cons to everything. And then just for me, it was just what I wanted in life just wasn't the way I was living my life at that moment in time. I was overweight myself because I was like training people from so many hours in the day. There was no way in hell I was going to stay in the gym for another 2 hours after I worked all day to train myself. So my health was absolutely shocking. I was gaining weight. My mindset was so bad. My mental health wasn't good. And it was because I was serving so many other people and not serving myself first, which was a hard lesson to learn. But that's why I coach women to kind of make sure that they're making themselves a priority, because it's detrimental if they don't.
I think that there's so much in there that we can talk about. And what really interested me was when you said about how it wasn't serving your life anymore. So it was probably a great business. There was lots involved in it, but the mismatch between what you wanted from your lifestyle, not just from work, and the work just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, it just wasn't in line and with me and what I wanted out of my life. And as well, I was running two businesses. So I had the gym, which was like one-to-one clients, teaching classes, all of that stuff. But then I had the online business as well. So I've had both for years, for over 10 years. But the online I always kept smaller because the gym was taking so much time and energy from me that I was nearly afraid to put up spaces available because I was just burning myself out. So I came to a stage where the July that I closed the gym, the online was making as much money as the gym was making. And then that just gave me, like, it was more of like a light bulb moment to why am I putting myself under so much pressure and not enjoying this part when I really love this part and it's making me the same money. So why wouldn't I go all in? And yeah, it's a risk, but risk paid off. You have to take the risk sometimes.
And I think, there's lessons in that for everybody, that sometimes we can be all in really busy businesses, especially when we're younger and we have less commitments outside of ourselves. And then it's okay to stop and do something different. It's okay to change. It's okay to take that risk, as you say.
Yeah. Like who I was as a 20-year-old is not who I am as a 30-year-old. Now I'm 37 and I want completely different things out of life than I did when I was 27. Do you know what I mean? So definitely, I think you grow and you evolve and then you want different things. And what I dislike in some, like looking at some people as well, is they don't grow, they don't evolve. They're happy, like they're staying in like this kind of mindset of like a set mindset, and they don't want to actually develop or grow or learn anything else. They kind of want to stay in their little bubble. That's okay for them, but for me, I'm always looking for the next thing. What can I do next? How can I improve more? So that's why it was just I suppose it just happened organically that I went more to the online, because it gave me more freedom and flexibility as well with my lifestyle, but also a chance to work with so many other females.
And I think that's, one of the reasons why I've joined in and why I've stayed, you know what I mean, is that marrying of both the physical health and the mental health and the mindset, and bringing the two together. Because for me, and for lots of people, you kind of know how to be reasonably healthy. You know what I mean? Like the information is out there. People can find information to, look at their nutrition or even do their fitness. But the difference is having the motivation to do it on your own and dealing with the mindset gremlins that can crop in. So we all know we need to do these things to be healthy, but many people don't do them because our brains really are what gets in the way. So the bringing of the two together has been what's been really helpful for me.
And as well, it's like common sense isn't always common practice. So yeah, we know the things we need to do, but how do we actually start implementing them? And how do we be consistent and how do we be accountable? So there are all other things, other factors. Like it's very easy to look up a program online, but is that going to actually suit you, suit your injury, suit you where you like if your lifestyle at this moment in time, like your business, like is it going to work around your lifestyle, or are you just trying to add this? Like it's like what my dad said to me one time. It's like or like ordering windows online and hoping that they fit your house. Like that's not how it works. You have to measure the windows and make sure that they fit you. So that's why I always tell people to make sure that you look at a coach, look at their content they're putting out, look at their before and afters, and make sure that you're in line with them or you actually like them as a person. Because if you don't, then it's never going to work,
Yeah, and it's the same, whatever kind of coaching you're picking, to make sure that you relate to the person and that your values are similar, I suppose. You know what I mean? That what you want from yourself. And I know, like in the way you coach, it's very much about the whole person, and it's about making sure that things are sustainable for people, rather than going all in, and then being all out.
Yeah. And as well, there's so many like quick fixes and 6 weeks like challenges and all that. And I hate that word challenge, because I feel like health and fitness should be part of your life. It shouldn't be like a challenge where it has an end date, because when you have an end date on your diet or on your healthy lifestyle, then the progress stops at that end date. When you stop looking after yourself, you stop like training, you stop looking after your food, all the results are gone. Do you know what I mean? So like this 6 week challenge is a load of bullshit to me, because I feel like it's just, let's hammer these people as much as we can, get do as much cardio as we can, put them on as little calories as we can, and they'll have a great before and after. But what about the after? Then what happens? They've no idea of nutrition. They've no idea of how to actually maintain this, because they've been just put on a really stupid low calorie diet. It's very easy to make someone skinny, but it's not very easy to keep them healthy and keep their mindset in a good position too. And their food, like it's so like there's so many girls that come to me who have a really bad relationship with food because of poor food plans they would have got before, that they would have done on challenges and stuff like that. So to me, health and fitness is about prolonging your life and make sure that your health and fitness, like it's, you're able to pick up your grandkids at 70, you're able to carry shopping in, all of those things. That's what I'm like coaching towards my females, is like, let's keep you as strong and mobile as possible for as long as possible. None of this like quick fix thing, because it doesn't work.
Absolutely. And that's where it came from for me, is that I was at a point, I'm in my early 40s, and my mom had had a fall the year previously, and she'd broken her femur, and, really, really impacted her life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to age disgracefully, as in I want to be able to enjoy my my older years and not be debilitated by injuries and lack of mobility. Now, thankfully, Mom's doing quite well now, but it's such, I don't think we give enough thought to the fact that we need to protect our bodies as we age.
Yeah, it's so important. I was actually looking up a study recently, and it was 70% of all hip fractures are females. 70%. And it's because our bone density isn't as good, because as we go through the menopause, we obviously lose bone density and muscle mass. So that makes us more fragile and more at risk for falls. So 70% of all hip injuries are females. 30% of those females will never come back to their previous health from before, and 20% actually die. Like, if that doesn't scare you to go and lift some weights or to look after yourself, I don't know what does. It's absolutely crazy. The numbers are there, but we're not taught this, like, because the diet industry from like 10, 15 years ago was just get skinny, get skinny, get skinny. But where does skinny leave you? It leaves you weak, frail, fragile, no bone density, no muscle mass. So you're more likely to have a trip, slip, fall, broken hip. 30% of females never come back to their actual pre-health, and also end up in nursing homes because they can't look after themselves after a hip replacement.
And that's it. There's so little focus on strength, because I suppose traditionally it's been seen as a male quality, maybe, and that's why it hasn't been there. But strength and mobility is what's going to keep us well.
Yeah. Like, as soon as we hit 30, we lose between 8 and 10% of our muscle mass and bone density every decade. So every single year, we're actually getting more fragile. The only way we can counteract that is by weight training and keeping a high protein diet. But so many people, like, they don't do this, they don't know about this. And that's when we see, like, our parents, like, at their age group, 60s, 70s, they're the ones that they're getting shorter, they're shrinking because of the bone density is just not there anymore. And then also, trips, falls are more detrimental because they don't have the strength there to come back faster after a trip or fall. So look at your parents, look at your grandparents, see where they're at. If they're shrinking, then okay, maybe there's a case where bone density isn't great in your line, in your family. Let's really start looking after yourself, make sure that you're lifting weights and that you're strong, you're looking after you, so that you can be there for your kids, grandkids, family in the future as well.
People might be listening to this, and I know there's going to be listeners, and they'll be thinking, oh God, I really need to do something. I 100% understand, this makes sense, but, and there's going to be the buts, I don't have the time, but how do I do it? But can I afford to get support with it? So where, this is for me where the mindset piece really comes in.
Yeah.
It's okay, I want to do something, but how do I get myself to do it?
Well, you can start off very basic. If people haven't been doing any kind of strength training before, your body is a weight that you have right now that's free to use. So you can do resistance training with just your body weight. So you can do it like your squats and lunges and stuff at home. And then when it comes to the nutrition and the things, then what I would suggest you to do is just start a food diary. So just write down your food for a week, even if it's on just pen and paper. Write down your current eating habits, and then have a look back over and see how many of those meals actually contained protein and were the majority of them from carbs. Because then if you reflect and look back, it might just give you a bit of an actual bit of a moment where you realize, okay, I've just had toast for breakfast, I just had some cereal later on in the evening, and then I had pasta for dinner. You kind of have to realize where your current habits are, and then to start improving them. It's not like an all where you get rid of everything that you like and then you have to change your life around completely. You just add in little small things into your day, like parking as far away from, if you're going to Tesco's or your food shop, park at the very end of the car park where there's those car parking spaces, and then just get your extra steps in and out, and then carry your bags. It's those little things that are going to be going to add to your health bank instead of take away from it.
And a lot of people as well, we talked about kind of the business end of it and how challenging kind of running a business, I suppose, can be. And if people a lot of the listeners will be mothers of young children. They're running their birth work businesses. Trying to fit in something else on the to-do list can feel like a lot.
But you have to look at the priorities, like, and what you want out of your life. And if you want to be a fit and healthy mom, you need to do things that are going to keep you fit and healthy. If you want to run a successful business, you're the biggest impact in your business, right? So if you're sick, what happens? Your business suffers. Do you know, if you have an injury, if you have broken limbs, if you have a disease, your business is going to suffer. So you're the best thing about your business, but you're also the worst thing about your business. So if you don't look after yourself, then the business will suffer. But not only the business, it'll be the family, the income, everything else that comes with that. By making 30 to 40 minutes in your day that is going to allow you to do some kind of fitness or give you some kind of headspace, then your business is going to thrive more. You're going to be more successful. You're going to have a bit better income. You're going to have more energy for your business, but also for your kids and for everything else in life. So it just comes down to your priorities at the end of the day and where you put your focus to.
I think before I started, my big thing was I don't have the time. I can't fit anything else in. I do not have the time for this. I felt like I didn't even have 10 minutes to give to anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is what you said there. It's down to actually prioritizing, because when we make a choice, so when we decide, I'm worth it, and I'm worth it for me, not just, and I know I talked about the business and the kids there, but actually being able to say to yourself that it's worth taking this time just for me, even if it only benefits me and not my business and not my kids, even though it will benefit those things as well. When we can make that decision to prioritize, then the time comes out of something else. It is there. It's just what we decide to do with it.
And as well, sometimes we just need to say no more often and stop being so much of a people pleaser. Like I've said, I'm starting to realize that over the past 5 years that saying no to things I actually don't want to do is giving me back more time to do stuff that I actually do want to do or are going to help me. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just be mindful of the things you keep saying yes to. And if it's not a hell yes, then maybe it's a no. So stop people pleasing, just saying yes, you'll do this or you'll do that, when really it's taking more time away from you and from what you want to get out of your day as well.
Absolutely. And that's one of the kind of priorities I made for myself last year and this year, is to not take on anything new. Anything new of my volunteer work. I do serial volunteer. I was like, I'm not taking on anything else. So I'm going to have to learn how to say thank you for thinking of me, but no thanks. And it's actually quite liberating.
It's empowering as well, because you're putting yourself first. You're not saying yes to something that you really don't want to do and then dread the thoughts of doing it for like a whole week coming up to it, and then going to this event that you don't want to go to anyway, finding clothes, find something to wear, going to this event, and then you're sitting there thinking, I really don't want to be here, and then you're annoyed with yourself. So then your self-worth, your self-esteem is actually lowered because you've people pleased instead of looking after yourself. So it has a massive knock-on effect. By just saying no, you feel liberated, you feel more empowered, and you feel like you're in control of your life and your decisions. It's one little word, but it does go a long way.
Yeah, and I definitely think more of us need to learn how to say it, in particular women, because we are more likely to do the people pleasing. And what are some of the main concerns people come to you when they start looking to kind of improve their health and fitness?
So I have kind of people at different walks of life. So some people will come to me for weight gain. They might have had eating disorders, food issues before. They're looking for a better way to look at their health and nutrition and to gain a little bit of muscle. Then I would have a lot of females who come to me in perimenopause and menopause because their body just isn't responding the same way it would have done to the exercise or nutrition that they would have used for years, because their body is just in a different current state at the moment. So finding different ways to help them get back into swing of things. And then I'd have women who come to me after pregnancies, then just want to get fit and healthy and feel like themselves again. Do you know? So that's kind of the main people I would help. Yeah.
So a lot of, let's just say, the women's issues. a lot of those bits coming up. And for you as a business owner, what are your main mindset? I don't want to say hacks, but how do you look after yourself in your own mindset?
So what I do each week, usually over Sunday, is I use the big rocks, pebbles, sand analogy. So this is how I map out my whole week. So the big rocks are my non-negotiables, the things that I want to do for me first. So my training, like family time, anything that's really important to me that week. Like this podcast, you were in my big rocks this week. These are little things that I wanted to make sure I had time for, and work. So work blocks, and then obviously coaching people and all that. They'll be in the big rocks. So in a big glass jar is my week. The big rocks go in first. Then the next thing is the pebbles. So that's the smaller things that like checking emails, responding to WhatsApps, food prep, put on the clothes wash, all that kind of thing. They go in, and then after that, then it's the sand. So it's little things like that I may need to check on, respond back to people, or check up on people, or little small things. Like it's really the nitty gritty day to day kind of stuff. So like putting on the dishwasher, all that stuff. Like I have to map out when I'm like cleaning and when I'm doing this, because if I don't, it just doesn't get done. Work just takes over. So that's how I map out my week. And then the last thing then is the water that goes into the jar to fill it right up. So that's watering myself. So that'll be coffee with a friend or a walk with somebody, or little things like that. So I kind of map out my week with the big rocks principle, and I just find that that's really helping me understand. I put my like list of the big rocks and list out what they are that week, and then I find that once I get them in first, everything else then is kind of like the cherry on top. So once they're done, then everything else kind of falls in then next.
That's a really nice way of looking at it. I do, I suppose, a similar sort of thing on a Sunday, where on Sunday I plan out my week as well, and I'm the same. I need to plan in everything because otherwise, if it's not in the schedule, it doesn't happen. And how do you deal with when you put too much in the calendar and it doesn't happen?
Yeah, so I used to be like that, but I don't really do that anymore. So I kind of put in my top priorities. So it'd be like the top 5 things that I really want to get done in that day. And let's say I get 4 things ticked off and I don't get the fifth done, then that gets moved to number 1 the following day. So I'll kind of reassess and rejig as the weeks go on, because sometimes life gets in the way. So whatever was left on like Monday's list, number 5, that'll be the first one on Tuesday's list for number 1, and I'll just rejig it that way. But I tend to not give myself endless to-do lists, because you could keep adding onto that list every single day and still never feel like you accomplished anything. Whereas if you kind of just like use like your first 3 things that once you get them done, they'll make life a bit easier. So if you kind of think of it that way, what 3 things do I need to get done that's going to make tomorrow easier, or it's going to make business easier, or it's going to grow my business, or your self-development, whatever you are working on at this moment in time. I pick the big ones and then just get them ticked off, and anything else that's not like they're the green and it's in amber can be moved or shifted around. I'm not going to stress about those.
I think that's a challenge that a lot of people have maybe earlier in their businesses, or if they haven't kind of done any of this mindset and looking after themselves kind of work, that just overloading that calendar and then feeling like you're constantly chasing your tail, that you feel like you never actually get anything done because there was too many things on the list to get ticked.
Yeah. There's a really good book. It's called Eat the Frog, and I've read it probably 5 times, and every time I read it, I get something different out of it. So it's like, if you have to eat the frog, like in a day, the best time to eat it is first thing in the morning. So get the hardest task, the one that you're dreading, or you're thinking like you have to have a harder conversation with somebody, you have to send an email that's, maybe tough to send. But I think if you eat the frog, so eat it first thing in the morning, and then the rest of the day then it's so much easier. So it's kind of like making sure that one thing that is going to kind of hang over you, just get that done in the morning time. And then if you have anything else that's in your kind of to-do list that takes about 5 minutes, don't put it down, just do it. Because by the time you put it down and write it and think about when you're going to do it, you would have had that email sent, or you would have had that voice note kind of listen to and reply to. So if anything is only going to take 5 minutes, just do it now instead of writing it down to do it later.
And you can always write it down after you do it and then tick it off and get the satisfaction of the tick.
Love a good tick.
Definitely for me. So is there anything else that you feel that when you're thinking about the people that I work with, and you work with a few of us, so when you're thinking about the lifestyle, I suppose, that a lot of us live, so some of the doulas are on call, and a lot of kind of weekend work, or sometimes unsocial hours, and working with really vulnerable people and hearing hard stories. Have you any kind of thoughts on how people can look after themselves in that?
Yeah, well, you just really need to protect your own energy, because you're giving out so much constantly all the time to your clients and to the kids, to the family. Like, you're constantly being drained all of the time. So you need to find ways that you're able to recharge your own batteries. So what does that mean for you? Does that mean like you're going to go for a nice long walk for some headspace, or is it a nice hot bath, or is it where you just turn your phone off after a certain time when you're not on call? What way can you recharge your batteries? And if you can, try to do it where you do one thing a day that's going to help recharge you. So that could just be jumping on a call with a friend, or if you're doing a drive to a job, to a work, can you just have a chat on your speakerphone to someone who's just going to kind of brighten up your day a little bit? What ways can you recharge your own batteries? Because the job you do is very energy zapping. So if you're leaving the house on full battery, by the time you get home, you're running on empty, because you've been given so much. And the job that you do is absolutely amazing, and you give so much support and so much of yourself into each job, what's left for you at the end of the day? So how can you recharge yourself and look after your own energy?
And that's such an important point, because sometimes the work can be physically tiring, especially for the birth doulas who go to births and they
Yeah,
could be there for
yeah.
36 hours. But all of the work is very emotionally draining. So people are given a lot of their humanness to other people. So if we don't recharge our batteries, as you say, if we don't take time to do things that fill us up,
Yeah.
then eventually we're not going to be able to do what we do.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you think of yourself, like even we're better at looking after our phones than ourselves. You'll never leave the house with your phone on zero battery or on 10%, but you'll get up and just go leave the house yourself when you're running on empty. So if you just make sure that you're charging yourself up as much as your phone, then you're going to be winning. But you just have to find the little things in life that help charge you and help you feel good, and then trying to embed some of those in your week.
That's a really nice analogy, because it's really easy to understand. You know, I charge my phone every night, it needs to be charged. So just plugging yourself in once a day to get something for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as well with the line of work that you guys do as well, but especially with the doulas, being on call is tough because you're constantly waiting, like you're on edge waiting for the call, and you're kind of sitting around and you can't plan anything or do anything. So is there anything that you can do in that waiting time? Like, is there podcasts you can listen to? Is there a few chapters of a book that you can listen to? Anything that you can just start to kind of help your mindset or help your self development grow a little bit more while you're in that kind of limbo of waiting for a call? Do you know anything that you can do at home? Some stretching? Can you go for like a short walk around? Like, what can you kind of do when you're in that limbo time? Because that's a very stressful time for a lot of people when you're kind of on edge waiting to be kind of like the phone's going to ring at any stage. You kind of have to keep it on all hours of the night. But is there anything that you can do in that time that will help you kind of help yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's a really good suggestion, to just kind of fill that time with things that are going to help you, rather than what probably a lot of us do is fill it with just tasks,
Yeah.
you know, of like household tasks, or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
keeping busy
Yeah.
rather than filling ourselves up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I find as well, like there's so many girls and women that I work with that are in service jobs or with the public, that just like I have like SNAs, teachers, and they're always the people who find it most difficult to look after themselves, because the job that they're in is always looking after others. Like the doulas, SNA workers, they're constantly helping and looking after other people and checking on other people's needs. But when they'd actually have a sit down and reassess and think, okay, what do I need today? So it's literally just a simple question you can ask yourself at the end of the day: what do I need today to feel a bit better or to charge my battery? Or what do I need today? And it could be something very simple where they're just going to do a bit of journaling, they're going to read a chapter of a book, they can listen to a podcast, they can reach out to a friend, something in that day that's just for them. So it's an important question to ask yourself. So what do you need out of today for yourself?
I think probably a lot of people don't do that. You know, it's just not top of the to-do list, or
No.
it's just not always something that comes to mind for people to do. So getting that reminder
Yeah.
to kind of to do things for yourself, and um to think about what you need as
Mm-hmm.
well. And I think something else that you have built into your programs, and that I do as well with my coaching clients, is focusing on the achievements and not just the big ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, being positive about yourself
Mm-hmm.
regularly. So
Yeah.
we're very good at disparaging ourselves and,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of toning things down, but we're
Yeah.
not so good in general of being positive about ourselves. So I think that's something that can be really helpful for
Yeah.
people.
And I think it's, as well, people don't realize like little wins in the day add up to massive results. I saw these little small wins, like I drank my water, tick, I went for a walk, tick. It's these little wins that make you a healthier, happier person at the end of the day, like at the end of the week, at the end of the month. All of these little things add up. So celebrate the little wins, because it's not always about the big shiny sexy stuff at the end. It's the mundane. It's the mundane stuff that gets you the results, that gets you a better job, that gets you a better business. It's the mundane stuff that we have to just put down and get to work on, that actually will help you get to the sexy shiny stuff where the money is better, hours are better, you're looking after yourself. But you have to really just love the mundane part of it. If you don't love the mundane part of it, then you're never going to get to the sexy shiny stuff at the end.
And it can be hard to keep that motivation in the ordinary
Yeah.
sort of thing. So another part of that, though, I suppose, is the really, really small incremental improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's not drinking any water,
Yeah.
and or very few fluids even. A lot of people don't drink anything that other than a couple of cups of coffee. Getting even to 500 mils, and then when that becomes normal,
Yeah.
getting to 700 mils, you
Yeah.
know, and just building things up over time.
And it's constantly just moving the goalpost a little bit further each time. So when something feels normal and it's part of your habits and your routines, that's great. Let's try and improve that again and move it again. And it's all about bridging the gaps from where people start to where they ideally need to be, but bridging those gaps really small, like along the way, because then it doesn't feel like a big lifestyle overhaul. It's just like, okay, I've done that this week. That was easy. I can definitely manage a little more the next week. Do you know what I mean? It's just the small things that we need to kind of focus on. And then it doesn't feel like this big kind of task that's hanging over you. You're kind of just barely making little small improvements. Like I always just say to my clients, just 1% better every day. So what can you do tomorrow that's going to make it 1% better than yesterday? And it might just be the case of doing an extra 5 minutes of a walk. If you did 25 yesterday, let's try and get 30 then the following day. Little things that will make massive impacts and changes in your life.
Absolutely. So, Louise, is there anything else that you feel that you'd like to share or would be beneficial in this conversation?
I just think like your body is the only one that you get, right? There's no, like, it's not like Super Mario Kart or any kind of games that you're playing as a kid where if you die, you come back and you have 3 more lives. It's not like that. We have one life, we have one body, and people don't realize how important it is to look after that body and that vessel because it's the only place that you have to live. And if you don't look after this, then you're just shortening down your lifespan. So if we can look after our bodies and our brains more, you're going to have a longer, healthier, fitter like lifestyle for a longer period of time. Your business will be better. Your family will obviously be better as well because you'll be in better form. You'll have more energy. You'll be in better humor. Like you just be an overall better person when you look after yourself. So just make sure that the body that you have while working on the one that you want is still looked after and you are looking after yourself. And then as well, when you were saying about the water, it's funny because so many people will look after their houseplants more and water their houseplants more than themselves. You know, it's just like I don't get it. Like you have people going around watering their houseplants and looking after their pets and then they haven't drank a glass of water all single day. Then they're like, my skin is dry, my nails are brittle, I don't have any energy, I have brain fog, and I'm like, your body is 70% water. It needs to be topped up. You need to be looking after yourself as well. Then I think as well with the likes of supplements as well, there's so many supplements out there that you don't really need, but there's a couple that I will recommend, especially to females. So you have like your vitamin D. We live in Ireland. We don't get enough natural sunlight. We need vitamin D for immunity and strong bones. A protein powder, if your protein intake is low, it's the easiest way to bridge the gap to like your low protein to like a normal base of protein. So a protein powder if you can. This doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be like a whey protein. It can be vegan protein depending on how you choose to eat as well. And then also creatine. Creatine is like the world's most studied supplement. It is amazing for brain cognitivity. So if you suffer from a lot of like brain fog, or have you ever like walked into a room and like, why was I going into this room? Like, yeah,
20 times a day, Louise.
brain fog. So water and creatine. So 3 to 5 grams of creatine a day. It's going to help you your energy levels. It's going to help you recover faster from your workouts. And it's also going to help your brain cognitivity. So it's going to make you actually smarter. Because what creatine does is it pulls more water into your muscle fibers, into your ATP system, which is the energy that we have in our muscles to do the workouts, to do the reps. So you have a certain amount of energy. When you're doing, say, 10 reps in the gym, your energy starts to deplete. That's why you have to take a rest period for that to start to replenish. Creatine will replenish that faster. So it just means you get more out of each workout, but also recover better. But your brain is a massive muscle. So having creatine in around your brain, then it protects it. So it's great for any kind of contact sports. And it's actually starting to do more studies now with the likes of Alzheimer's and stuff like that and the benefits of creatine. So I just think so many females are afraid of creatine because they think that it's some kind of drug or whatever, but it's just literally from fish and meat. We just don't eat enough of it in our diet to create the amount that we need. So definitely, I would look into creatine for all females. Like, I just think it's so well studied. There's so many benefits, not only for your body but for your brain and also for memory. So there's been tests done where people have took creatine, in a placebo, creatine and placebo, and the people who took the creatine had a better memory outcome from tests than the people who took the placebo. So it's showing you now that like it's not only for the muscles because it's more for like your brain and health as well and memory. So
Great.
creatine.
Sounds like something that every all of us probably need. So Louise, if people want to find out more about what you do, where is the best place for them to find you?
On Instagram, so it's Louise_badass, or if you are looking for more information, you can email us, and it is badasscoachinginfo@gmail.com.
Great, and I will put all of that in the show notes as well. So thank you very much. It was absolutely lovely seeing you today. And for everyone who is listening, if you want to get in touch with Louise, we've given you the details there, and I will be back with you next week.
Excellent, thank you.